I first came to St. Luke's when I was 5 years old with my family. We had moved here to Jacksonville from Kentucky. My dad was in the military and he was with Fort McClellan. We just found a second family here. We didn't have any relatives, and the church, St. Luke's, welcomed us and provided a extended family for our family. And I've just stayed active through the years, through EYC, through campus ministry, and with Altar Guild. And it's the friends, the family and fellowship that has kept me at St. Luke's. It's an important part of my life. And currently I serve as the chair for the Altar Guild, and I am in my last year of a 3-year Vestry service. I look forward to continuing my service here at the church.
I've been a member of St. Luke's for 6 years now. I came to the church through a relationship, and I have found from the moment I stepped into this church to be a warm, friendly, welcoming church. There's a lot of events that happen at the church and that I'm involved in. One of our large events that's coming up real soon is our Thanksgiving dinner. I've always felt a desire to participate in working at Thanksgiving and helping people at Thanksgiving, as opposed to just going somewhere and eating. And coming to St. Luke's has given me that opportunity to actually serve and feel like I'm doing something during the Thanksgiving season. I also serve on the Vestry, the church board. I've been a member. I'm in my 3rd year. I currently serve as a senior warden for the church. The church, to me, this church, I like history. The history of the church. The church is almost 175 years old. And it's just a warm, inviting place that needs a lot of care and attention. And it's an honor every Sunday to come here, and I really enjoy it.
I've been at St. Luke's for almost 5 years now. I got here in December of 2015. I was in Carrollton, Georgia as the associate at St. Margaret's Episcopal Church, and been there for about 2.5 years, and the nice folks at St. Luke's in Jacksonville called and said, we're looking for somebody. I came over, interviewed, got a tour of the town, tour of the university, and really never looked back. I remember after interviewing here, I walked into my rector's office in Carrollton and I told her, I know where I need to be. It's been a great 5 years. I look forward to hopefully many more. And what brought me here and what keeps me here, I'll tie into what we put on our, we call it our tagline for St. Luke's. We say that we are steeped in history, intentional in tradition, and progressive in reason. St. Luke's is, it's not the oldest congregation in town, but we have the oldest active house of worship in the city and the second oldest in the county. The church was finished in 1856. It's on the Alabama Register of Landmarks and Heritage, and we just had it painted and the stained glass windows refurbished, and it's shining like an old new copper penny. We love our little church. It is steeped in history. It's seen about 25 rectors in the 175 years it's been in Jacksonville, and it's seen the town and the university change a lot. We're proud of our Episcopal traditions. We're proud of our liturgy. We celebrate the Holy Eucharist. During this time of health concerns, we're having to modify how we do our liturgy a little bit. We wear masks, we social distance, we don't handle elements and the offering plates and things like we typically would. And we unfortunately have to wish each other the peace from a distance. But we're back. We're encouraging people to come. It's a safe environment, a healthy environment, and we're glad to be seeing each other again. It's a modified type of liturgy. We're not singing like we would like. We're not consuming the wine at the Holy Eucharist, just the wafer. But we're making it, and we feel good about where we're going. We've got great leadership in the diocese from our two bishops, Keith Sloan and Glenda Curry, and we're optimistic. And we say that we're progressive in reason. Here at St. Luke's, as the saying goes, we don't check our brains at the door. We don't tell people how to think, how to vote, how to act, but we offer them healthy alternatives. We use the gospel of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to give us a model on how we can act, and then we use our intellect and our rationale and our reason to decide and make choices in our daily lives. The gospel calls us to take care of each other, to minister to each other, to love ourselves and our neighbors. And during this time of political upheaval and health concerns, that's more important than ever. So my message as the rector of St. Luke's, during this stewardship season, in a time when we're encouraging our members and those active in our parish to support the church through their time, their talents, their gifts, and their service, it's a time to come together, to reflect on this year that is almost over. It's been a challenging year. It's been a tough year, but it's a year that we'll look back upon and I think be able to say there was a lot of good that came from it. So we're glad to be here in Jacksonville and encourage people to come and join us at our services at 5:30 on Saturday and 8 and 10:30 on Sunday.
My name is Susan Dearman. My husband is Mike. We have 3 adult children, a son-in-law, 2 daughters-in-law, and 6 grandchildren. I have been a member of St. Luke's all my life. I am currently serving on the Vestry. I've tried to put a few thoughts together in regard to stewardship. I believe God desires our first fruits in giving our offerings and our time. All I need to serve God is a sincere and loving heart. Serving does not require that we have certain skills or even prior experience. A dear friend of mine told me recently, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. If we joyfully give and do God's work, God will provide whatever we need. The pandemic and all the happenings of 2020 have left me struggling from time to time. I would like to leave these thoughts with you from another friend. What to do with negative thoughts. Don't curse them, don't nurse them, don't rehearse them, but disperse them. God's love and peace to each of you. Be safe, be well.
I arrived at St. Luke's in 2010, and this was after a good friend of mine, Timothy Wyatt, which I haven't actually seen in years, he had invited me to church. I was raised Southern Baptist and Pentecostal. I'd gone between the 2 denominations growing up, so coming to an Episcopal church was a very different experience, to say the least, especially that first time sitting in here through the liturgy. I didn't know what was going on. However, I really enjoyed it. And I got to know some of the folks at the church. Everybody was very welcoming, so I started coming to St. Luke's regularly, and I have been here ever since. When Melanie and I had started dating, she was raised in a more Catholic tradition. She enjoyed the services here, so she would come with me, and we ended up actually marrying through St. Luke's, and I mean, we've been here ever since. We'll raise our daughter here. It's a wonderful church, and it's home. No other way to describe it. Everybody here is his family, so very much enjoy being a member of it and being a part of it. Well, I'm hoping St. Luke's will grow. I would like to see this parish grow, be a larger congregation. I know we have a good footprint in the community. I personally would like to be able to do more to assist in those efforts and part of the community outreach. but we do a lot, and there are a lot of people here who put a tremendous amount of effort and energy into community outreach and helping. And I hope that more folks in the community would be drawn to this place. It's a great place of community. There's a good support system here for those who need help. Obviously, it's a wonderful place to be, but I think the overall thing I would like to see with the church is it grow and have an even bigger impact in the community than it already has.
I'm Angela Morgan. I have been a member of St. Luke's for a very short time, but I have been a visitor to St. Luke's for well over 30 years. In my time here, the one thing that has always been constant is that this is truly a family. It's a place where you can feel comfortable and you can be yourself, questioning, asking, what's going on, those kinds of things. They're all welcomed. Those questions are welcomed. And there's always something going on. Whether you are helping with Thanksgiving dinner, you're serving on the vestry, you're doing outreach, working with JSU students, a member of the Daughters of the King, doing your service through our meals. Well, it's not just meals. This is where I messed up. If you're doing your service through the pantry, no matter where you're at, there's always something that is there to help you be part of not just St. Luke's, but the greater community. And I think it's one thing that makes not just our parish so unique. I think it actually strengthens Jacksonville, Alabama, and makes us a better community as a whole because St. Luke's has been here for so long.
Before the pandemic hit, I've been trying to push the concept of outreach and not in the old-timey idea of just going and trying to get new parishioners. We all need those.
Yes.
But to be more community-oriented, to just basically get out and know who the people are that live around us. And now, as we read, when we say the prayers of the people, we want to do something about our relationship with others, including those of color, to admit to some of the things that we don't even realize we do. But that's the kind of outreach I'm talking about. It's community outreach.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving's great, and it really takes a lot of work. And I've been involved with that ever since I got here. But it's the little things. Oh, I'm a daughter of the King.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that little pantry out there that we put food in. And Dawn said the other day that she drove up and somebody was putting food in it. So it reaches up, not just the people that need it, but the people that understand the need.
Yes.
And I think if you weren't raised in the Episcopal Church, which I was not, you might find us to be cold. And that's something I'd love to light fire under every Episcopalian I know. But I became Episcopalian because I was looking for a school for my child to go to that in Birmingham during the horror of Birmingham. And I wanted her to know that Jesus loved all the little children, red and yellow, black and white. And I had two choices. I had a Catholic school or an Episcopal school. Well, being a feminist with a capital F, she couldn't go to the Catholic school, so I put her in an Episcopal school, and that's how that started. And when I came here, we had retired from the Air Force, and we came up here for when they were working with the incinerator, because he's emergency management, and I hate little towns. I mean, I don't care for them. So here I am. I fell in love with the church. This is my family. I mean, I was just, holding my breath till we can get back to Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And yet these people, and some of them are God's chosen frozen, some of them are, but they're so accepting of everybody. And that's what makes this church so wonderful, is it's so unique, and all the people that come here. And I can't imagine, I'd stay here. I have stayed here just for the church. Only reason that Daisy Stanley is not in Austin, Texas right now is this church and the people in it.
St. Luke's has always been a part of the fabric of my life. I was baptized here and confirmed here. Youth groups cemented my relationship with the church. Even in times of theological doubt and being away from St. Luke's, I still had St. Luke's. As a young man, I moved from Jacksonville and was gone for 24 years. Upon return, there was no question in my mind nor heart that our church would again be my church. My hope for the future is that we continue to be who we are. I know that who we are has different meanings for members within the St. Luke's family, and that precisely illustrates who we are. We are diverse, but we are also one.
I think I'll maybe just narrate a little episode that occurred that represented to me a lot of what St. Luke's stands for.
Okay.
At my wife's funeral, a good friend of ours from Montgomery, who had never been to Jacksonville, had never been in this area, had never attended St. Luke's, came to the funeral as a gesture of kindness. And later, after it was all over, I got a very nice letter from her. And she said, I can't tell you how impressed I was with the reception that I received from your members.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I came and was not sure exactly how to react or respond, and I was treated as if I was a long-lost member of the family. And that's really the kind of thing that, to me, represents the value of St. Luke's, and I think many, many people have experienced that sort of thing as well, this inclusion attitude. And it goes beyond a stranger wandering in for a service of some sort to an acceptance of people for who they are and not for what they might possibly be or how we might change them into something different or anything of that sort, but simply take us as we are and love us. And to me, that's what St. Luke represents.
I first saw St. Luke's in the, I think it probably technically was still winter of 1990. I came to interview for a job at Jacksonville State. I looked up the church. At the time I was in formation, finishing up formation to become a deacon. So I wanted to check out the church and see what it would be like here. Well, the rector at that time was George Quiggle, a big bear of a man, and as warm-hearted as you could imagine anyone to be. So I was embraced literally and figuratively, and just felt so wanted, so needed, and welcomed. So I was offered the job. I accepted the job. It was a little difficult at the time because I really didn't know for sure that if that decision might preclude my ever becoming a deacon, since I was leaving the diocese where I was being raised up. So I decided I'd take my chances. My bishop assured me that he would ordain me if I managed to jump through the rest of the hoops. So I commuted back to Montana a time or two to finish formation and then become ordained in the fall of 1990. So from the day I was ordained and returned back here to Jacksonville, I felt like I was welcomed all over again, and was presented with a very fine stole and the accolades of the congregation gathered in the parish hall. And various members of the congregation from time to time, I understand, would go to Father Quiggle and say, well, you know, you need to incorporate Stan a little bit more. He needs to be present. He needs to wear that collar, and he needs to have a role. And so I did. And so it's gone from there. So my experience of St. Luke's, you know, you just scratch my hide a little bit and ask me about it. I will tell you, it is a very welcoming place. That's what I've experienced, and that's what I hope it will remain. And there's just not a more welcoming, has not been a more welcoming place to me in all my experience. Some people say, I heard a priest once say when the diocese was considering restoring the diaconate, I was the only active deacon in the Diocese of Alabama for a few years. But when they were considering that, a priest stood up at a meeting, largely a priest, and said that his worst nightmare would be to be called to a parish where there had been a deacon for the past 15 years. So I managed to double that and not be thrown out on my ear or some other part of my anatomy. And I think that's not a tribute to me, that's a tribute to the people at St. Luke's. That they continue to be welcoming even though they now know me.